The formation lap. And as always, we're going to have to give you a quick weather update as to what's happening up here at Sepang. One of the biggest variables for any racer in any class, in any car, up at this world-famous circuit is the weather. You can see the heat haze already on the track, while the clouds, you can see from the main commentary booth on the pit straight, I'm literally just on the left of your screen now, the clouds are beginning to pull together. And the issue, I suppose you could say, with Sepang is, and the location of the circuit is, that these storms or squalls can happen very, very quickly, and also in different parts of the circuit at the same time. So you could have turns 13, 14 and 15 picking up a lot of moisture, whereas turns 1 and 2, that lovely sweeping downhill chicane, could be completely dry. So the cars are off under the guidance of the safety car. Malaysia Championship Series Round 2 Race 1. Now that number 46 car, Kifli Othman, with his partner Pete Saufan, going to really be looking to pick up some points this weekend after losing out in the first round. As they get round on the formation lap, I'll just give you an update on exactly what happened in that first round. Mark Darwin, Fikri Rahim, On Wei, Alan Tam, Baron Sim, Nick Ma, Marcus Song, Chong Chow, William Ho and Farid Sani took us up to the top 10 for race 1. And the next day of race 2 was Baron Sim that came out on top with On Wei, who was the biggest collective gainer from the weekend. In second spot, Go Li Heng came in third. Alan Tam from Rios Racing was in fourth. Damien Dielenberg was in fifth. And Marcus Ong in sixth, with Nazmi Sad, Nick Ma, William Ho and Brendan Paul rounding off the top 10. Two classes of car in this event, obviously. There is the Touring Production and the Malaysian Touring class. Big difference there, of course, the Honda Civic FD2s that you can see from the Touring Production class, and the Satrias and Suzuki Swifts from the MTC. Of course, the Suzuki's slightly smaller engine capacity on 1,400 cc's. Does lead to some very interesting racing, and that's what we're hoping to get. Roughly 22 laps, 1 hour plus leader, so leader will dictate exactly how long, but this is generally speaking how much time we do get. Making their way round Sepang circuit, you can just see it just graying over a little bit. Coming up through to turns 7, 8, 9. Be very gentle on the power up here. See from those huge runoffs. So all the cars in a 2x2 formation, making their way around to the start. Race director and race control will of course determine whether they are in perfect position. So onto the back straight, coming up to turn 15. These two long straights, 927 meters, longest straight at Sepang, are almost a signature of the track. 15 corners, 5.423 kilometers in total, with the whole circuit being used, is usually, or can be, split into a north and south circuit. And as they come around that corner, now that is one of the big overtaking opportunities on the track. And with the red lights going off, race 1 of round 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series is on, and it's another blinding start for Mark Darwin in that dark blue Honda just on the inside. Keith Lee right next to him. That looks like Baron Sim coming in on the outside in the green and yellow. It is indeed fighting for fourth. It'll be an interesting line through turns 1 and 2. Mark Darwin still edges his way through that. Very special weekend for him. I'll tell you a little bit about that later on. But right now, let's see how these cars settle into position. Here he is, Mark Darwin. One compulsory pit stop for each of these classes, and that will be between the 25th and the 40th minute of the race. You usually see a whole slew of cars coming into the pits at that point, but still it's this battle up front. Keith Lee once so close in race 1 to actually picking up some points, but it was literally one lap, I think it was 2 laps from the end, where that car had an electrical problem, ground to a halt. Needs to pick up some points this weekend. But right now, as you can see, Mark Darwin beginning to push as hard as always and creating some daylight. The sky is definitely darkening a little bit. Baron Sim just gone on the outside of that line, lost some ground. That's Alan Tam in front of him. Still nothing between them as they come into turn 1. That's Roy Tang at the wheel, the front of that trio. Baron Sim just tucked in behind him. That's the biggest battle happening right now. You can just see him maneuvering for position. That's Akin Asli just behind the red Tedco Racing car. And this is a huge battle. He's closed up a little bit on this lap. He's made up a bit of ground in sector 1. But as I said earlier, reliability is going to be the issue. that Dr. Mayhem Racing team are going to be looking for in this round 2. Not enough rounds, if you think about it. I'm sure motorsports fans would love to have 15, 16 rounds, but for these races, they've got 5 rounds with the 2 races in between. The sky's darkening around Sepang, but still this battle rages on. Let's having a look at that again. And it's Barrett's on the inside, just pushes Roy Tang out on the outside. Nothing you can do about that once you're caught on that line. So currently, Mark Darwin is leading the way. Keith Lee just 0.7 of a second behind him. And then there's a 6-second drop-off for Damien Dielenberg in 3rd spot. Baron Sim in 4th, about 4 seconds back. Roy Tang, Akadazli, that was that fight for 5th, 6th and 7th. Fikri Rahim being brought into that. Go Li Heng in 8th, Chong Chow in 9th, and Mohammed Amirul Haikal in 10th. But look at the pressure that Keith Lee Osman is putting on Mark Darwin right now. This will be the only race this weekend we'll be seeing for Mark Darwin. He's actually getting married tomorrow, believe it or not. It'll be a very special weekend for him indeed. So could even say this is his last race as a single man, Mark Darwin, and he's right up front, leading the way. Here is the battle for 5th, Roy Tang, Akadazli and Fikri Rahim. And that's all for position. All those cars with just 1 second behind them, roughly lapping about 10 seconds behind the leader at the moment. But they're not going to be thinking about that. That's some late braking from Baron Sim. Looking on the inside. Down the back straight they go, and they're looking for any opportunity they can. It's kind of racing that we've come to get used to in this the 4th season of the Malaysian Championship Series. And again they go hurtling around turn 15. And it really has been a wonderful platform for Malaysian drivers to come up here in production model cars. Remember, that is the signature of this event. There is, of course, minor tweaking. There are limitations and regulations, as with all motorsport classes. But in the end, you're having road car against road car at speed, going into corners, and just trying to hold that line. And that's very well done. Now that is the leader, the current leader of the MTC, the Malaysia Touring class, Kenny Lee. There is actually another class as well, Sporting Production 1 and 2. In final, the differences between the classes, as I said, on the official Sepang International Circuit website, www.sepangcircuit.com. And there's a great example of what I was saying. One half of the straight getting very grey indeed. And the top half of the straight, or rather turns 1 and 2, a bit lighter, the clouds really piling on now. We've had 4 laps down. Well, Darwin has anyway. That's Paul Fun. We are engineering the Civic. And that is Brendan Paul, the Dream Chaser team, also in the MTC class, currently running 3rd. Roughly 3 seconds between the top 3 in this class. Always a good battle from MTCs. He just clips a curb coming through that chicane. Really putting the pedal to the metal now, that Dream Chaser team. Almost drifting through that corner. That's Nick Mark. 76. Tedco Racing Suzuki. Right on his heels. As you can see, Brendan Paul not letting up at all. That's Paul Fan, just ahead of Nick Mark, currently running in 11th. Now with just that one pit stop between the 25th and 40th minute, compulsory 3-minute stop as well. It is obviously a game of, or a match, a race of strategies. What I was trying to say there was that you have to match your strategy against, of course, your competitors, because these are all very similar powered cars, high chassis. You'll lower your cornering speed for sure, getting into big corners like this. It really is about how you can play that pit stop well. And almost as an example from round one, Damon Dielenberg opted to not go in with the rest of the pack and stayed out on track. We actually had 4 different leaders in that first weekend over the 2 races. That should be 1 into turn 1. Kagani Racing. So once again to go through the standings with 5 laps completed. Mark Darwin and Keith Hoffman now with a second between them. So Mark is pulling away Damon Dielenberg in 3rd, and in the MTC class, Kenny Lee ahead of Nick Mark and Brendan Paul. About 2 seconds between them, and that's the battle we're watching on the screen right now. So 15 points for a win, 12 for second. 10 for third. And the points have been racking up. Obviously after round 1, Mark Darwin picked up his 15 points from race 1, and Baron Sim 15 points from race 2. And as I said, on your way with a 3rd from race 1, the 2nd in race 2, actually topping the standings right now. Most consistent finisher. Consistency is really what it's all about. Look at a very daring move indeed. Into turn 1, trying to get past Fikri Rahim. And it doesn't work out. That was Akid Azli just trailing him. And I was talking about consistency. It really is about consistency. The champion from last year, I say it that way as well, Mitchell Chia, is actually racing in a different championship this year, the TCR Asia Championship. Check out the website for that as well. Well, he was the most consistent finisher. He actually only picked up 2 race day wins last year, but still came out on top ahead of the likes of Fadzil Alang. And of course, Mark Darwin himself. Now, as I did read out the top 3 from the first 2 races, yes, Keith Hoffman was not in either of those, and now you can see why I was saying it is ever so important that he picks up at least a top 3 podium position in hopefully both these races this weekend. Wow, that's a huge battle going on there. That's William Ho, the 39 car, and Farid Sunny. Absolutely nothing between them. They've been battling it out now for a good couple of laps. as William Ho's beautiful car. The Toyota Vios taking on the Suzuki Swift. So certainly not sunny skies up here at Sepang International. There is Keith Othman just in the middle of your screen. A lot of back markers it looks like they have to deal with. An interesting spot. There's another one of those Vioses coming in on the inside. Actually the tail end of the pack, Dennis Ung being passed there. But Shafiq just ahead. And these are of course all just back markers that are being taken by that man there. Number 66, Baron Sim, the winner of race 2. Round 1. Having a look at that again. Good move. You can just see Baron Sim just staying out the way, making sure he's obviously got some points to be looking for this weekend as well. So these second and third rounds, the third round will be coming up in July. These are very important to pick up points here as we look at William Ho going around turn 15 again. Just been bumper to bumper. Here's William trying on the inside again, gets the line sliced off. Very hard to recover from that. Of course, bigger car, the Vios as well. It's going to be a little bit more sluggish going into the corners. Mixed class racing, mixed class chassis more like. This is a very fast part of the circuit. This is where the Vios should be able to pull up some of that ground. It's just going to be a little bit harder around the corners. Cut into that racing line. Now this huge slew of cars. Here's Akid Azli, Frippy Rahim, Go Li Heng. And there is our race leader, Mark Darwin, who is currently and now 6 seconds ahead of Keith Othman, so he looks like he's won that battle. This is going to be a great result for him if he can keep it up for Mark Darwin, not just because it is, of course, I said, the weekend of his nuptials, but it will also mean, look at that huge cloud just quickly, just at the top of your screen. That's what all these races are facing right now, and I reckon that pit stop might just include a tyre change. But yes, if he could, if Mark could pick up some extra points to add to that win from round 1, then he's already well on his way. Had absolutely no problems last time out, Mark Darwin. And of course we've got to give some credit to his partner as well. Another huge name in the Malaysian motorsport scene, Boy Wong. At Tedco Racing, Honda Civic has really set the benchmark for everybody else. 6.586 seconds now. I wonder if this is Keithley dropping back. And I'm hoping it's not another problem. maybe Kifli Othman deciding to just opt for points this time around as opposed to pushing for the win, as we look back at William Ho and Farid Sani in the MTC class still at each other at turn 1. To be fair, it has to be said that Farid Sani's had the better of that specific corner. As I said, nippier car. Interesting trade-off. The Suzuki chassis versus the Toyota chassis. So 9 laps completed now. And roughly 20 minutes left to go. Absolutely nothing between them. Kenny Lee still well ahead, 5 seconds ahead of Nick Mark. Both those names were heard a lot, very frequently last season when the... Well, that's very, very wide indeed, and that is exactly the result that William Ho was looking for by putting all that pressure on, and he's gone wide again. That's all you need to do, is really just put the pressure on, force the mistake. Now there's going to be a lot of pickup and debris on the tires of that Suzuki Swift of Farid Sani. But thankfully it doesn't look like he's picked up any other damage. Well controlled. That was a high-speed corner. As we look at it again, just couldn't control it, was trying to push it too hard, and it's that gravel there, that's the pickup you've got to worry about, and then all of that dust before you're back on the black stuff. Was actually very fortunate to get that line coming through there. You've got to remember, almost a total lack of traction when you're off the asphalt. Meanwhile, our race leader, Mark Darwin, lapping about 3 seconds slower than his pole position qualifying time. 2:27 he's on right now. Just ahead of him is that battle of William Ho and Farid Sani. Now Mark's going to have to negotiate that, but he keeps piling on the seconds here. The top 3 in the touring production class now separated by 13 seconds, and the front 8 of those belong to Mark Darwin. So Kifli Othman has a nice cushion in second. As I said, he needs those points, valuable points, as we see Farid Sani coming on the outside. That there is Baron Sim coming into the pits. The pit window is open. It literally opened 2 minutes ago. And this will be the first. You can see it now. 3 or 4 more cars just coming in. So we're going to have to wait a couple of laps to see what the new settled positions are. And of course the key moment coming up is going to be when that number 11 car decides to come in and pit. And of course with a 2-driver strategy, that means Boy Wong will be taking the wheel for the second half of this race. And Mark Darwin is free to move, as I said earlier, to his wedding tomorrow. Congratulations, Mark. Today, though, focused on something else entirely and driving that car magnificently around the second half of the circuit. Clear track ahead. Still that fight between William Ho and Farid Sani raging behind him now. Went past both of them very quickly and very easily. I can tell you the Kifli Othman, who was running second, is now in the pits. Baron Sim is also there, as we said. Ahmad Khalid and Dennis Ng, YC Fu from the MTC class, all already in the pits. So Mark Darwin now, at this point, with Kifli in the pits, has a 25-second lead over new second-place man Damon Dielenberg. Quick shout going out to Damon Dielenberg. Actually, another solid run from him in race 1. He was the initial leader for race 1 of round 1. And as you can see there, as clear as day, the rain is beginning to come down. So right at the time that they needed it, when the pit window is open, track conditions rapidly changing. Just looked like a little drizzle. I'm looking out the window now, and it is a heavier drizzle than you saw. I can tell you that now. Hopefully it's going to pass quickly. But here at the tropics, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about. A lot heavier now. And that's actually the second half of the track. So the situation that I was highlighting at the start of the race has indeed happened. And there are now various levels of moisture around. All these cars are going to have to get down to full course yellow speeds, I would have thought. Not officially ordered, obviously, but just out of safety. Before they can get exactly the right setup done. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more of these cars coming into the pits. 10 minutes left with that pit window. Wipers on. First time we've seen that in the Malaysian Championship Series for a while. But as I said, it's always a threat up here at Sepang that the rains are going to turn up, and this is how quickly they can start affecting things. Now the drivers have to be very careful indeed. That was a cautious move, but nicely executed by Mark Darwin, and it was Brendan Paul, in fact, that did the right thing and just moved off the racing line slightly. Brendan Paul currently third in the MTC. Kenny Lee leading that Malaysia Touring class. Well, one great thing about the Malaysia Championship Series is, of course, every race from every round is raced on this track. And these drivers know this track very, very well as a result. They do actually have a bit of internal rivalry as to who's the quickest in the wet and who's the quickest in the dry. I'm telling you now, Mark Darwin's name is very high up on that list when it comes to driving in wet weather. So he's not going to be too fazed by this right now. The amount of rain, possibly, as you can see there. So for sure the cars are going to be making all the adjustments needed, with the basic one being getting a lot more tread onto those tyres. You can just see the pit mechanics working there. And you still have to watch your braking lines and your braking speeds, even if you have wet weather tyres on. It's not... very easy the way it is described. If you put wet weather tyres on, you can go driving in the rain. Well, it's not quite as simple as that. Of course, the tyre will expel more moisture from the track, with get you more traction for certain, but how you use that traction, how you drive it, as you can see from the massive speed reduction from pretty much all the competitors, it is belting it down there, out there now. Lot of moisture there coming out of turn 15, and that is Kiefer Hoffmann out again, and it looks like he's taken someone with him. Well, that's a Tedco Racing car. Well, Kiefer is coming back on track. He can't afford it. We've got cars that are spinning off track all over the place right now. That is dangerous as well. There might just be too much moisture on this track now. A lot of cars spinning off. Didn't have time possibly to get into the pits in time to get onto the right tyres. There's Kiefer's runoff, and there was no contact. That is literally just coming off, or coming into turn 15, back on track now, as you can see. But when I say on track, of course, that is a massive generalization. You can hardly see the track with the amount of moisture and water on there. Look at that. Need hydrofoils. Still, as I said, you couldn't find a greater set of drivers better suited to dealing with wet conditions. Look at the amount of pickup coming off the back of Kiefer Hoffmann's number 46 Honda there. And there's Baron Sim off as well, and this is looking like a pretty serious situation now, as a lot of cars just can't seem to handle that entry into turn 15. Not unsurprisingly, the safety car is out. I'm sure there's a lot of people currently joking around saying, well, you'd probably be better off with a safety boat in these conditions. Well, safety car is going to have to do with that. Well, that is rough and tough conditions there. Absolutely no grip and no traction at all. Well done there, just to let the car fall into the runoff almost. Nothing you can do about the pickup, obviously. There's nothing you can do about the state of the car now. Not surprisingly, these cars are racking up, and that is our leader. Well, I did say he was great at driving in wet weather, but this is just at a rough guess. I could check the timing sheet, but I'm saying 6 cars, 5-6 cars off track, at least 3 or 4 of them right there. Mark Darwin also a victim of that turn 15 entry. Looks like a lot of water has piled up there. The Suzuki just behind him manages to pull it in, but look at that gaggle of cars just at the end of that. Oh, he's dug in deep there. So, how does this affect the current standings? Safety car is out. I was saying at the top of this round 2, race 1 of the Malaysian Championship Series that the weather is such a massive factor here at the Sabang International Circuit, and it can come on so quickly. I think within the space of essentially 3 laps, between laps 9 and 12, we've seen almost a fully waterlogged circuit. Looking out the commentary box now, I can see cars just strewn up the home straight as well. Best to follow those trails moment right now, and as you can imagine, the option of putting in a fastest lap is really off the cards at the moment. So the marshals are out in force, as we did. We had a lot of incidents in race 1 and race 2. Look at the amount of skidding going on there. Absolutely can't keep up. But we had a lot of incidents in race 1 and race 2. Pit stop, drive-through penalties. We had a couple of skids, a couple of runoffs as well. But we didn't have any rain. So the Malaysian Championship Series already in its first 2 rounds. You quite can, of course, go and revisit those races. They are on the Sabang International Circuit Facebook page. That there is, that looked like William Ho, just behind the safety car. I actually think it's Kenny Lee. That's Mark Darwin back on track. That's Damien Dielenberg. He seems to be dealing with most of this, and there's Keith Yoffman as well. They are cruising past my position here in the commentary box. Now lapping around about, well, 3 minutes. And you can see why. Wet race up here at the Sabang International Circuit, but still race 1 of the double-header race weekend. That is the Malaysian Championship Series. Tough conditions. Technically, we are actually just leaving rainy season in this part of the world, but as you can tell, not quite out of it yet. So I was going to go through the standings with all of those spin outs, especially on turn 15. Oh, there's been a lot of changes, shall we say. Kenny Lee is currently topping the standings from Kagani Racing with a Malaysian Touring Class MTC car. With 12 laps completed, Damien Dielenberg in second there. Roy Tang is in third. Keith Lee's in fourth. That looks like it might not be coming back for Roy Tang, actually. So I might have to correct myself there. Just as I was mentioning him, he was expected to cross the line, but it looks like, again, that might be turn 15. So, well, he's lost out on his third spot. Just do bear with us while we identify some of these cars. The rain keeps bucketing down here at the Sabang International Circuit. Not just a wet race, absolutely soaking race now. Started with just a dribble now. That looks like Brendan Paul's car. It is, I think it is Brendan Paul's car. Let's get confirmation on that. Well, let's just count them off as we see them. That is Damien Dielenberg in second. And has now moved up to first, in fact, as Kenny Lee has wisely pitted. As you can imagine, with less than 20 minutes left to go, everything down to safety car speeds and conditions. Well, it's going to be another surprise set of results from the Malaysia Championship Series, and of course all of us will be looking forward to what's going to happen with race 2 tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Malaysia local time, wherever you are watching in the world. Calculate that back. Of course, you can set the reminder. Wonderful live stream technology. Actually tell you exactly when your favorite motorsports are on. So there is our by default leader, we should say, Damien Dielenberg, but I actually will pull back from saying that because he's put in a very, very consistent, solid run in the first round as well, in varying conditions. So now that, as we can see, is in fact Adam Khalid. Khalid from the Dream Chaser team. His teammate Brendan Paul is still on the track, so that was in fact a correction that needed to be made. Looked like it was Brendan Paul, but as you can imagine, that big fight that Brendan Paul was having, and that other battle as well, William Ho and Farid Sani. Now it's all about just staying on track, staying safe. 18 minutes left to go in this race 1. And it looks like the rain is beginning to clear up. Now, one important point to note, of course, these conditions are expected up here at Sepang International Circuit, and there was massive revamping that happened about a year ago, I think now. Don't quote me, I think it may just be a little over a year. I remember writing a story on it, in fact, about some of the drainage and the camber on a lot of the big corners. So the track will dry very quickly. Or rather, I suppose it's better to say the track will try its hardest to dry off as quickly as possible. But certainly not going to be any lap records broken from now on, I can tell you that. Not in this championship race today anyway. Or if there were, it would be an incredibly massive headline, which should just be heard all around the world. So with the safety car now setting the pace, all the cars are pulling up in order behind it, and that is our running order at the moment. Just one car in the pits, which is Mohammed Amirul Haikal's Toyota. Very slippery corner there. So Damien Dielenberg. Now, who's going to be the biggest winner? Well, I think it's actually going to have to, you'll have to say it's going to be Damien, who came up with a fourth and a fifth from round 1. That will give him 14 points. Now, of course, if he continues on here, he's going to get 15 from here. I just have to check to see exactly where one you Onue is. Well, Onue is not looking in good shape at all, down in 27th. Onue, biggest gains from round one, as I said, with a second and a third. It's 22 points. So if Damon Dielenberg can continue where he is in that red and white car, then he will be taking the championship lead. But the lead keeps changing. Still safety car conditions, and still the time ticks down. Now, while they are in this safety car mode, I can tell you about another great initiative that's happening this year for the Malaysian Championship Series, and that is esports. The esports version of the MCS is happening this season, and it is a really, really exciting thing to see about Race Room Entertainment. I've actually seen the rooms with the simulators where you guys watching right now can actually get involved with the MCS, not just race virtually, but actually the winner from this season for that competition will get, I'm going to pause for this, will get a chance to drive in the Malaysian Championship Series in a real touring car next season, and it will all be taken care of by the Sepang International Circuit. Wonderful, wonderful initiative, really up there with the digital age, and you can find out all the information you need on www.sepangcircuit.com. Esports and MCS, could you be the next MCS champion? Now, as we get back to the action is happening off track, as you can see. Trying to pull out, or rather dredge, some of these cars out of the runoff pits. Do check out that esports initiative, though. It is really, really fun stuff. But it's also meant, of course, with the serious intent of unearthing even more Malaysian talent. More and more Malaysian drivers and riders are making it onto the global scene, all from having the opportunity and practice here up at the Sepang International Circuit. So, as the rain looks to have settled a bit, I was going to say cleared up, but it hasn't cleared up, it's just relatively settled. I doubt we're going to be seeing some fast speeds. The last lap, by the way, as a comparison, at the beginning of this race, which was some half an hour ago, they were lapping around 2:27. Well, Damon Dielenberg just lapped at 4 minutes and 33 seconds. That's how much of an effect this rainstorm has had on this race. But he is leading this race. Race 1 of round 2 for the Malaysian Championship Series. Kenny Lee in the Suzuki Swift is in overall second, but also topping the MTC class. Keithley Othman is out of the pits and out of the gravel as well, and in third, but about a minute back now. Fikri Rahim is in fourth, Akidazi is in fifth, and Mark Darwin, our race leader, who unfortunately was another victim of that huge puddle at the end of turn 15, or the start of turn 15, is now down in 6th place. Baron Sim is in 7th, Nick Marr is second in the MTC class, but in 8th. Brendan Paul is 9th, William Ho is 10th, and those are the point scoring positions from race 1 now. As you can see, the rain still coming down. That's Chong Chow. Actually, it should now be Tam Yik Chun, Honda Civic R Engineering. Had a pretty good run out in round 1. No points scored with a 15th and, oh sorry, no, there was 2 points scored in fact, with a 15th and a 9th for Chong Chow, but they did finish the race. Every competitor is gauged to have been a finisher if you can finish 60% of the race, if not it is a DNF straight. And whether it's points or not, over the duration of the championship, it really is about getting as many race laps as possible under your belt. Now, that is a much, much better situation. Taken from somebody that actually resides in Malaysia. Looking at that sky, that's good. As for the drainage of the track, well, as I said, highly improved over the last couple of years. Let's see how quickly it dries. The racing line, which has been set by the safety car, should be a little bit more drier. Well, I'm not expecting to see any daring moves coming into turn one this time. Keithley Hoffman in the back of your screen there is actually beginning to weave a bit, just testing out exactly how much moisture. Look at the trails that's left. So you don't want to go on the inside into turn one. In fact, it's pretty much just that middle lane now. It's almost like the blending lane, of the pit lane. There are three areas on this track: the outside, the inside, which looks very wet in turn one, and that middle line. There is our previous race leader, Mark Darwin. I'm just checking to see how many laps Mark actually completed. No, he didn't have enough time to lap enough back markers, so yes, confirmed, Mark Darwin is in 6th, and he's going to put that down to the rain. Absolutely valid, of course. And Damien Dielenberg is the man that's come out on top here. Under 10 minutes to go now. Well, I can see the cars coming up home straight. I can tell you now that the speeds are beginning to pick up. Alan Tams is coming past me now. He's still taking it pretty easy though. You gotta take it pretty easy. Last thing you want before tomorrow's race is, of course, to mess up his car. Just one car is allowed to be entered. You can put in 2 drivers. One car alone. That's a great shot there, and so is that one. You can actually see those 3 distinct lanes on the asphalt. The middle lane that's just being broken apart by the safety car for the competitors, and then either side there's this massive pool of water here on the left side. Just in the center you can see that racing line. So a wet race, and something that is really going to put the spanner in the championship. I actually said that last time I was here in April 1st as well, because those 2 races were so exciting to have 4 different leaders and 2 different winners to come off it. But now that we've had rain, heavy rain, for race 1 of round 2, where is this all going to go? You can, of course, catch it all. Just to update you once again on those rounds, of course, you can get this information on the website, but round 3 will be on the 13th of July, round 4, 24th of August, and round 5, the 26th, I think 27th of September. Trophies, prize money, we'll get to that as we get to that. Right now it's about setting up your position in the championship, and these drivers have had everything to deal with in the first 3 races so far for the 2018 Malaysia Championship Series. Official timing says 7 minutes left to go now. Still Damien Dielenberg out front. I'm not going to say he was lucky. He had the opportunities and he took them, which is exactly what he did in round 1. But solid driving from him. He didn't go off on turn 15. He didn't go off on turn 1, and he managed to keep it going. And even with a lap of 4 minutes and 29 seconds, he's out front of this race. Actually, just look, I'm in a state of disbelief with that with that lap time. It has to be said, but just checking my memory, because if I'm right, the lap record here at the Sepang International Circuit was set by Sebastian Vettel. That's right, at 1:34. That's how fast you can get around. Of course, that's in an F1 car. That was last year. These cars can hit about 220, 223. We're currently at 4 minutes a lap, which of course eats into race timing. That It's not going to lengthen the race for you. But it does look now, as we get into the 5-minute marker, that there's a very good chance that this race is going to end under safety car conditions. Down again. Now, of course, the rain hit halfway through this race, but as I said, there is a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of races, events, and championships happening up at the Sepang International Circuit. You just see the top of your screen there. Still, marshals out there in the rain. Hats off to the marshals and the officials, the stewards, and race control here at the Sepang International Circuit. Managed to get all the cars back on track, but as I said, there is the Formula 4 Southeast Asian Championship, the Blancpain GT Series Asia that just finished its qualifying in totally dry conditions just before this race, and of course the Lamborghini Super Trofios as well, looking lovely outside. I can tell you as I walked in again, dry conditions, and how things have changed. Now that is a lot of rain, but I've just heard that the safety car should be pulling out at the end of this lap. We should see 4 minutes left in official timing. 16 laps completed. Damien Dielenberg still up top, and we have Kenny Lee coming in with an overall second position at the moment. Keith Hoffman is roughly a second behind him. As you can imagine, they're all coming straight past now. There is Damien Dielenberg, there's Kenny Lee. Now, the reason why Keith Hoffman is in third position is because he has indeed completed 16 laps. You may not have seen him run up there, but he is technically further ahead in this race than the likes of Brendan Paul, Danny Chin, Fadzil Alang. Word out for Fadzil Alang. Haven't seen him make an impact on this championship yet. Big name last year. But so far, that Mazda 3 that he is driving this year hasn't been delivering the goods. So onto the back straight, and we should see, if information as it was given to me, we should see that safety car pulling off into the pits right about here. Look at all the debris around turn 15. There's now pretty much only the inside line on that, and even that inside line is absolutely soaked. So the safety car does pull up, and look at the increase in speed immediately that we've seen. Yeah, I can see the safety car coming past me. Here's Damien Dielenberg coming past me as well. Green lights, and it's back to racing speeds, or relatively racing speeds. It has been trying conditions indeed. Officially, there is 2 minutes left to go. So these cars are crossing the line for effectively their 17th lap. Well, how about that? Damien Dielenberg spins out on the last lap. Well, talk about drama. That was our race leader, and I was just saying that you needed to make just the tiniest miscalculation. That's Keith Hoffman going past him as well. While Damien Dielenberg has been rock solid for the last 3 races, essentially, with this being now the last lap that we're on. time looks like it's going to be expiring. Minute official, so yes, it'll definitely be the end of the race, the end of this lap. But on the last lap, at the end of round 1, race 1, we saw Keith Hoffmann in second, grind to a halt, come out. He was just absolutely frustrated, standing in the side of his car. And this time, the slightest twist of the steering wheel coming out of turn, by the looks, I think it was turn 3. And David Dielenberg just slowly yaws round and was lucky not to get clipped by a whole stream of cars behind him. We're going to have to see, of course, he's still logged on at 17 laps. May actually come through that. Just checking the timing screens now, as you can imagine the situation up here with the rain has made things very complicated for the transponders and timing chips embedded into the chassis of these cars. We'll find out very soon as to exactly happening. That there is a very good battle indeed, though, and that looks like it is Farid Sani in the mix again in that red Suzuki. Looks like Fazil Alang behind him. Oh, just leading the way there. Off on your left, that is Fikri Rahim. A dangerous line to be taking with all that debris. Look at all that debris in turn 15. You got to pull it in, Fikri. Definitely don't want to get stuck on that gravel again. He did manage to pull it in. So you just got to watch it around turns 12 through 15, really. As you can see, a nice dry side to the home straight. And there is the checkered flag. And I can confirm after that spin by Damien Dielenberg that it is in fact Fikri Rahim that has won this race 1 of round 2. Kenny Lee comes in with his overall second. There he is. So not only a winner in the Malaysia Touring class, but also second place overall. Keith Hoffmann, with those points he needed, finishes in third. So 10 points for Keith Hoffmann, and his championship is up and running. Akid Asli in fourth. Nick Marr comes in overall 5th and 2nd in the MTC class. Baron Sim is in 6th, Brendan Paul is in 7th, and Brendan Paul will take a much-deserved, well-deserved 3rd spot in that Malaysia Touring class as well. So those are our top finishers, and there is our winner, our eventual winner. Congratulations to FR Racing for keeping in there, hanging in there through all the tough times and the rain. Mark Darwin eventually finishing 8th. Tough luck for Mark. Might be a big weekend for him with his marriage tomorrow, so boy one will be behind the wheel of that Tedco Racing Honda tomorrow for race 2, but was in the lead for the first 9, maybe 12 laps before, through no fault of his own, he joined a pile-up of cars at the end of turn 15, and that's going to be one of the key significant moments that will be remembered from this season for sure. Was there oil that was put down on one of the earlier cars that actually led Mark off? Was it just too much moisture? Something for the race organisers and race control to discuss. But in the meantime, this man here, Fikri Rahim, and FR Racing have scored their first big win of the 2018 Malaysia Championship Series. Don't forget, got a 2nd spot in race 1. So it's a good run out there. No points, unfortunately, in race 2 of round 1, so this was some welcome points for Fikri. That puts him on 27 points. So points racking up in the standings already. If you want to check the standings, as I said, all the information you need on not just the Malaysian Championship Series, but all of the championships, the Superbikes, the Malaysia Superbike Championship as well. And TCR Asia, all of them, get the information on www.sepangcircuit.com. So as we see the cars come into Parc Fermé, there is Keithley with a car finished, and not just a car finished, the car that's won him some points. Good to see all these drivers coming in from some very surprise conditions. Still waiting for a few finishes as they all make their way back to the pits. And that is all the action from round 2, race 1, and it has been some action indeed. And you can check all of the classifications and finishing positions, I said, on that website, www.sepangcircuit.com. I will be back tomorrow for race 2, and let's hope that the weather is going to stay fine for that one. But to be honest with you, it was exciting stuff anyway, and as I said, put a real spanner in the works for the championship. This is Jeevan Sovalan signing off from the Malaysian Championship Series today, and as I said, I'll catch you tomorrow at 2:30 Malaysian Standard Time.